I'm Mayor Jeff Mims, and welcome to another edition of In the Spotlight with Mayor Jeff Mims. And today, my very special guest, of course, all my guests are special, okay, is Miss Michelle Feltz with Easter Seals and all the work you do with Miami Valley Works. So I want you to tell everybody about what you're doing to help fill all these great jobs that we have coming to the city of Dayton. All right? How you doing?
Sounds good. Thank you. First, I want to thank you for having me today. I feel honored and blessed.
Okay.
I am Michelle Feltz. I am the director of Miami Valley Works. We are a service of Goodwill, Easter Seals, Miami Valley. Our mission is to empower people in poverty to become self-sufficient. We believe we can do that through soft skills training, coaching, and mentoring, helping folks get a job, keep a job, and advance to a better future.
Okay. All right, that's great. You know, and part of what I talk about on a consistent basis being mayor of the city of Dayton, I think that my role, my basic role, is improve the quality of life that we have in Dayton so that more and more people can want to come here if they're not from Dayton, but be able to find a place in Dayton they can live, work, play, be educated, raise a family, and grow old. And the work that you're doing supports clearly that great mission. So I know we had a conversation, seems like about 6 months ago, and we just had a terrific time. I think we planned for about a half an hour. I think maybe an hour and a half, almost 2 hours later.
This is true.
You were moving to your next location. I was moving to my next location as well. But it's really such a pleasure to see that smile and hear that voice and talk about the things that Easter Seals, who has a great reputation of supporting this community, is doing in your space with the Miami Valley Works program.
Thank you.
So, thank you so much. So I would like to go back and start off with, from your perspective, you know, the work that you're doing in this area. What caused Easter Seals to feel that there was a need in the space? And then how did you get involved in that?
Well, it actually started prior to Goodwill Easter Seals Miami Valley.
Okay.
It's a community initiative with the Dayton Foundation. So a group of folks that included the Dayton Foundation and the Business Minority Group came together and said, you know, what are we doing about poverty in Dayton? And that was probably back 2013, 2014, and an assessment was done to actually look at nationwide some other programs that were making an impact on poverty. And so, lo and behold, there was a program right in our backyard called Cincinnati Works. And at the time, Amy Luttrell was the president at Goodwill Easter Seals. And then instead of creating another nonprofit, we became a division under Goodwill Easter Seals. And so we brought that programming here to Dayton, and that is how Miami Valley Works came to be.
Okay. All right. You know, and I think I'd almost say that's maybe it's a little bit late, but the aspect of the fact that it's here now is very special. As the mayor of the task force on education as far as the National League of Cities, and I was in charge of that task force and addressing that issue, we talked about the aspect of getting more and more of our young people involved as a way of increasing the median income. Talking to, again, young people as well, helping them understand that the quality of life indicators are all based upon median income. The higher your median income, the higher your quality of life. And so the aspect of talking about how they could parlay, if you will, their educational skill set, whether you're singing, dancing, writing, doing math, reading, playing a sport, involved in science, all those things are foundational, if you will, to how you develop the skill set before graduation or even sometimes before, because some of them have the youth programs that we have already in place while young people are still in school, puts them in a position to graduate knowing that they have a body of skills that allows them to go to college, go to the military, go into the workforce, or any combination of those. So part of your mission, if you will, connects to that. So tell me how you're connecting and some of the kind of things you're doing, because I know you have a whole body of great things in this pamphlet.
Yes.
That helps people find a job, keep a job, earn more money, and sure nobody's angry with trying to do that. And then you want how to build a career as well. Okay, you're on.
Thank you.
All right.
So one thing I wanted to say too is in 2025, we will actually be celebrating our 10-year anniversary. Mm-hmm. And so this was a pilot with the Dayton Foundation that started back in 2015. So I always like to say we've been doing this for a little while.
All right.
And so what's exciting about the program is that we're working with folks that are between the ages of 18 and 54. So when we think about those young individuals, we do, and we have collaborated with Dayton Public Schools because even though our starting age is 18, we want to get in and take a look at folks that don't have some kind of career path, right? So like you said, if they don't have any post-secondary education plans, they're not going into the military, they don't have a job, what's next for those folks? And we believe Miami Valley Works could be that because of everything that we'll bring to the table to assist them in getting a job and becoming self-sufficient. When we look at just the last 12 months of helping individuals get employment, our average wage is $16.22. And so that in itself is a livable wage. It's a great start for somebody coming out of high school to earn an income of that nature. And so that is one thing for sure that we can assist with our youth. We also, we start them off with some soft skills training through our skills training workshop. That in itself is a good assessment of what the world of work is going to be like. It's Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Okay. And that's also where they're going to meet their coach. Their employment coach is that individual that's going to wrap services around them, help them with barrier mitigation, and they probably don't have historically what's kept them from employment when they're at that age, but we're still going to address those issues, really take a look at their vocational interests and develop a career success plan.
Now, how much time do you spend talking about those soft skills? Over time, we talk about that, my whole career. I talk with employers, I talk with human resource directors who are both at the schools or at some different companies that we're working with. We talk with union leaders that we're working with, because we do a lot of work with some of our labor unions right now as well in trying to find more and more of these apprenticeship programs for our young people to be involved in. And one of the number one things that they talk about a lot are the soft skills. Mm-hmm. So if you will, what are some of the soft skills? Okay, let's talk about those and how do you think they make an impact?
Right off the bat, attendance and punctuality. We know how important that is for our employers, and that's how we treat the skills training workshop. It's 35 hours. You have to be there every day, all day, no excuses, no exceptions.
On time.
And you have to be on time.
Okay.
And we know that life happens, and there will be, we will do things to accommodate in the fact that we will get them rescheduled. But for that week, the workshop is meant to be attended consecutively, just like work is. You got to go to work every day. You got to be there. You got to be on time. And then all throughout that week, we're talking about appropriate work behaviors. We're talking about professional presentation. So that means phones down, eyes up, those kind of things. And just, sometimes it's just those reminders of just appropriate interaction and communication. And it's also really good reminders for our adults as well.
Right. And the aspect of those things, come to work on time, every day, okay, improve the skill set that you have. Use those skills to make your teammates look good and make your boss look good. Now remember, way back in the day, before I even thought about work, okay? I was on the baseball team, track team, and I remember my coaches saying the same thing, okay? I remember the band director saying the same thing. How does that translate from your perspective into the world of work?
Well, it's just what employers are expecting. And so for just thinking about all of those soft skills being needed and the employer. Is that what that what you're saying?
Exactly.
Yeah, and so it's a little bit easier for us, particularly as we're coaching and mentoring individuals, whether they be those young adults or even some of our more mature adults, is just having that to where day in and day out, that's the expectation, and that's going to continue past our skills training workshop, because the next step will be to do coaching and mentoring, and even with coaching and mentoring, we're still continuing to work on those soft skills. And that's what's going to make our individuals a better employee, because that's our other customer, right? We're serving our community with the individuals that are coming in, and we hope to make members of Miami Valley Works, but we also have the employers that we work with. We work with over 90 employers, and so they have some expectations, knowing that, okay, this is a Miami Valley Works graduate, so they know what attendance means, they know what punctuality means, they know what appropriate behavior and professional presentation is.
Yeah, and that's probably paramount to how, when employers will go back to your school and they will ask your coach, your teachers, what type of person was this young man or young lady when they were in school? Were they involved in different things, different activities? Because I know as a former coach, I'm constantly getting, even still now, what does the kid do when you had him? And I was just talking with someone earlier today about a young man that I had in one of my mentoring programs. It seemed like 40 years ago, but it wasn't, just in 2007. Okay, North Cole, for example. I played professional basketball with the NBA, and now is playing overseas in terms of space in that area. But tremendous people skills, soft skills, if you will, in terms of understanding the aspect of being someplace every day on time, being a part of a team, know how to identify and resolve conflict, because your employers, the last thing they want is for people to be there, and productivity is hampered or interrupted because somebody got an argument, and that argument may lead to something else that still is not producing what needs to be produced in that workspace. So some of your contact and conversation with some of your workers, are you talking about some of those kinds of things as well?
Absolutely, because we talk a lot about being a team player and an individual. And we also, part of our workshop, we have a behavioral health team that also comes in and does sessions of our workshop. Okay. So we're talking about appropriate behaviors. We're talking about conflict resolution and problem solving. What is a good attitude? What is a bad attitude? And how do you handle those situations? Right. That is also what's going to be helpful in the future, because we're not all about just helping somebody get a job. We want them to keep a job, right? Man,
so you're saying you don't want anyone to say, okay, the boss says, okay, I want you to do this over here. Man, you can take that job and shove it. Okay.
Correct.
Yeah, you have responsibilities at home. You may have a family, different things going on. Now what you're going to do? You told the boss to go shove the job, and you're standing there. You go home, you tell family members that Christmas is going to be abbreviated because you don't have the resources that you thought you wanted to have. There are a lot of other things.
Sure, it impacts the family.
Impact the whole family in terms of those things working. And sometimes when you're in a situation of anger, you may be confronted with some things that may be on your mind, that may have been on your mind even before you came to work. And so the aspect of understanding how to take a deep breath, how to be calm, sit down and relax for a bit before you respond. Because after all, this person is your, quote, boss for that day.
And we also work with our members to know that this job isn't necessarily going to be your forever job. Right. Because we are going to continue to work with them because we want them to advance. Hopefully we can keep them on the job with their current employer. However, we're also going to plant those seeds for education, training, and truly moving up. And but we can also teach our folks and coach them of how to do it appropriately. Yep. And so that's when there is conflict to be resolved, we can assist them with that. A lot of the times our employment coaches are sounding boards for some of those things. Right. But let's teach them how to do that and give a 2 weeks notice, or let's not even give our notice until we have another job in line. Right. And so that's something else we work towards, is continuous employment. So there isn't that gap, and they end up back with some of the barriers we've been trying to remove.
Okay. Well, one of your flyers grabbed my attention, the aspect of build a career.
Yes.
So we're talking about, there's an understanding, for example, if a young person or person, maybe even with gray hair like myself, decides they want to move on because their skill set may have gotten to the point where they have outgrown this job, and they're looking at that. So it's not a shame to leave a job if the job you're going to does a better, or is a better fit, if you will, better fit for you, your family, the advancement. It's maybe closer to home. It may be more money. They may have a better benefit package, et cetera. So when I think about the aspect of build a career, you're looking at the future. You're looking at down the road in terms of things of that nature. So can you talk for a minute about some of the kinds of things you do with regards to helping someone who's moving in that direction?
One of our positions is titled Employment Coach and Advancement, and Advancement Coach. And so that is something that we look at, is to say what is going to be next. Sometimes that's advancing with the current employer. Sometimes that's getting that training or education that's needed to advance. Sometimes it's like, hey, my job is going great. I've never made this much money and had benefits and could take a day off. But I need help maybe putting a plan together to get some fines paid off, to get my license back. Maybe I haven't lived outside of subsidized housing, so I want to have my own place and take care of me and my family. We will also work on those advancement pieces as well. But also looking at training and education, we do partner with the Dayton Regional Manufacturing Association. And so that is an opportunity for us to provide individuals with training that will end in a certification that will help them get jobs with our local Dayton manufacturers.
Right. And we were special in that some years ago. I think we built the Dayton model, if you will, on some manufacturing jobs. And they are coming back now. They're coming back in so many different circles. And one of the things that's happening, I know our school system, Dayton Public Schools, with the superintendent, Dr. David Lawrence, they've talked about the improvement of their vocational programming that at one time was top notch as far as this region and county is concerned. And now they're bringing those things back. And they can't bring them back soon enough because they got all these jobs that we're trying to fill that are associated with manufacturing, the aviation, the workforce, building, construction, all those things that we've been able to create because of the good work and partnerships that we have with our business community. One of the biggies I like, of course, is the whole aspect of Joby Aviation and the aspect of building these air taxis.
It's exciting.
I'm really tickled about that. And these are $70,000, $80,000 jobs, and we have about 2,000 of them coming, and another $500 million in terms of building the plant, the factory, training workers, and then moving into that space. So I'm really excited about that.
Dayton is exciting.
Yeah, Dayton is exciting. They said we're hot now.
Yeah.
We're hot in terms of more and more employment coming, more employment
say
opportunities.
it's the place to be.
Place to be.
Yeah.
Definitely a place to be. And I want to be here right with it. Okay, so we try to make that happen. And the work that you guys are doing, I can go through this again, talking about need a job, a better job. What can, or we can help, basically what you're saying. You can help make those things happen. So let's talk about some of the aspects of how they find maybe the right fit for a job.
So we're going to take a look at folks' strengths and weaknesses. We're also going to look at what are they vocationally interested in. And because if you like your job, you're more likely to be successful. But we also want to work with our employers. What openings do our employers have so that we can make really good matches? Because we know that if all that can come together, there's going to be success, both with not only encouraging our individual and our member to get a job and to keep it, but also a satisfied employer that has a good employee that's helping their retention.
Okay. And so connections, like you guys have a nice list of different types of jobs. Talk about that for a bit.
We do. So we work with a lot of employers, and we also not just manufacturing too. We work with Premier Health, and we also look for jobs that our folks are interested in. So that could be retail, and of course, being the umbrella of Goodwill, Easter Seals, Miami Valley, we have folks that are working within our own agency, but with lots of employers in the city as well. And in fact, if you look at the cumulative earnings of all of our individuals that are employed, it adds up to about $48.6 million. And that's the impact of employment that we're making. And when you look also at just the return of investment, we have only spent approximately a little over $4 million. So you're looking at a 10%, well, 1,000% ROI, right?
I want you to say it again because I don't think people heard you. Okay. Yeah, I say that because I say a lot of times I'm going to different churches and we have ministers who will say something exciting, and if he doesn't get enough amens, then he'll come back and say, y'all didn't hear me. But the aspect of, repeat that again, because I mean, those are just great figures.
Yes.
In terms of, I'll let you say it. Cause
So if you look at
it.
all of the Miami Valley Works
Right.
members that are working, and you look at their cumulative earnings of $48.6 million.
I like the way it sounds.
That is making an
48.6
impact.
million. Okay. And
Yes.
it's only, what?
We've only spent a little over $4 million.
Okay. Yeah. $4 million in terms of that investment.
Yes.
That's special.
Yes,
That is
thank
really
you.
special. No, thank you for what you do.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. So let's go back for a bit. Talk about how COVID affected the employment world, and I think COVID sort of I don't know if you call it exploited the area or just exposed to us to a great extent of just where the work ethic has matriculated over a period of time.
Yes.
There was a time when society, communities as a whole, understood that their world always included work. A lot of people always felt like they were noted for the work that they do. You know, they took pride in it. I'm a welder. I'm a construction worker. I'm a policeman. I'm a fire person. There had been this whole pattern, if you will, in terms of how people live their lives, and that there's kids see these cartoons or some of these cartoon characters, Bob the Builder, for example, and and they understand that you are what you do in terms of those spaces. And there's times that has gone on where individuals sometimes want to separate themselves from the work that they do. They're not as proud of the work ethic that they're carrying on from that function. And again, going back to a time when it seemed like people almost didn't care what they did. It was safe, it was clean, it was legal in terms of work that they did from that perspective. In your mind, how has the COVID, exposed the fact that we have people who just have not had a sense of pride in the work that they're doing now as compared to what it was 20, maybe 30, 40, especially 50 years ago? Mm-hmm. Yep.
That is
a heavy one.
that is a big question. Just addressing the COVID aspect.
Yep.
That was an adjustment for everybody, right? One of the things that I'm really proud about is that Goodwill Easter Seals Miami Valley didn't close.
Right.
Our doors remained open. Now we all had to do that. The word everybody used, pivot, right? Mm-hmm. We had to pivot during that time, but we still maintained all of our services. I know some of our programs had to revamp and maybe take about 30 days to adjust, and there was a loneliness aspect, and a lot of folks experienced a lot of loss. But I think what is important to look at is continuing to keep folks involved. At the time, we partnered with Adamus and created a warm line so folks could just call and chat with someone. And now, fast forward looking, has that impacted our work environments? Absolutely. We even talk about that during our skills training workshop. Just from shaking somebody's hand is different now. And you've got people pulling out hand sanitizer and those kind of things. But it also comes back to work is work. And so, yes, there's going to be some changes. And, fast forward, we're 5 years from that. COVID is still around. We know that. But we've still got to acclimate. Employers do also have to pivot and accommodate to a certain degree, but employees also have to know that there are expectations that have to be met. And so I think with some acclimation, accommodation, and partnering to provide services that maybe folks may need, that's also really important. Collaboration in our city is very important, and so when you think about maybe some services that the employers need, there are resources out there.
Right.
Not sure that I answered fully the question, but
I think you did, because I think that's the essence of why I wanted you to be on the show, because all the great things that you're doing that's contributing to the advancement, the improvement in terms of quality of life as far as the city of Dayton is concerned, and what you're doing as far as our society is concerned. The message that I'm always taking to young people is the fact that if you want to have good citizens, you have to grow them. And I think as adults, it's mainly our responsibility, especially those who are in positions like myself and like you, to make sure not only that we create these opportunities.
yes,
Business community, again, doing the same thing, but make sure that we make young people aware that these opportunities are available, and that additionally, we find ways of training them and preparing them in conjunction with schools and other support services to make sure that they fill these jobs and continue to raise the median income as far as the city of Dayton is concerned. So seeing that go up about $11,000 in 10 years, I'm tickled, but I'd be more tickled if it was 15 or 20, and that's the direction I certainly want to go in.
well, especially with some of the technology that's coming to
Right.
Dayton.
Right.
It's exciting.
Yeah.
And it's also our job as agencies that are providing resources to know what other resources are out there, so that we can collaborate. Miami Valley Works is part of a impact group, and so we have the Stable Employment Collective Impact Project, and that is through Montgomery County Human Services Planning and Development, and it is a group of agencies, Daybreak, Miami Valley Works, of course,
Right.
And Urban League, Omega CDC, East End Community Center, where they're now called Westcare, and Wesley Community Center, but getting together and collectively looking at our community, how we can make an impact and provide resources.
All right, so as I told you, time was going to fly.
It did.
It has flown. Okay, so it's time to wrap it up. So again, I really appreciate you so much, and I'm glad you were able to get me information out. And again, I say to my guests, thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. And welcome to another edition of In the Spotlight with Mayor Jeffrey Mims. And you can see this show on YouTube. You can see this show on www.daytonohio.gov. Thank you again.
All right,
Appreciate
thank you so much, Mayor.
Okay.